Chair recognizes Senator Huffman for a motion on the Conference Committee report for Senate Bill 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, at this time I move to suspend the regular order of business to take up and consider the Conference Committee report on Senate Bill 1. The Conference Committee report to Senate Bill 1 represents the biennial budget for fiscal years 2026 and 2027. Senate Bill 1 is a responsible, balanced budget that falls within all constitutional and statutory spending limits and meets the needs of our rapidly growing state. It prioritizes public education, tax relief, public safety, infrastructure, and improving taxpayer services for individuals and businesses. It also makes strategic investments to maintain Texas's economic competitiveness. Specifically, the Conference Committee report on Senate Bill 1 includes the largest increase in funding for the Foundation School program in Texas history to support pay raises for our teachers and support staff, provide better support for our special education students, and to enhance school safety. In total, this budget provides an additional $13.6 billion in all funds to the FSP over the current biennium. It provides new property tax relief through additional M&O rate compression, raises the residential homestead exemption to $140,000 with an additional $60,000 exemption for those over 65 and the disabled, and provides a $125,000 exemption from the business personal property tax. The budget before you provides an additional $10 billion in property tax relief on top of the historic relief from last session. For higher education, Senate Bill 1 provides increased financial aid for students, investments in various areas such as workforce development, cancer research, and student success initiatives, an endowment to support capital needs for career and technical education programs at Texas State Technical Colleges to meet immediate workforce needs in high demand fields, and funding for graduate medical education to maintain our state's 1.1 to 1 ratio of slots for our medical school graduates. The budget also prioritizes keeping Texas communities safe through several public safety initiatives. It funds an additional 467 new Department of Public Safety commissioned officers, preserves the fund created in 2023 to bolster law enforcement and criminal justice efforts in rural Texas communities. It improves recruitment and retention of correctional and parole officer positions at the Department of Criminal Justice and Juvenile Justice Department, and significantly bolsters funding to expand and increase support for Texas anti-gang programs around the state to effectively combat organized crime in cities across Texas. For Health and Human Services, this budget makes targeted investments towards our most vulnerable populations. It raises the base wage for attendants who serve individuals with disabilities in the community for a minimum of $13 per hour. It provides funding to operate newly constructed or expanded inpatient mental health facilities to reduce the burdens on local jails for individuals needing competency restoration, and doubles the number of new youth crisis outreach teams to increase access to crisis mental health services for youth. This helps to avoid incarceration or visits to the emergency room. Finally, Senate Bill 1 prioritizes the state's infrastructure needs by providing the second tranche of funding for the Texas Energy Fund to ensure long-term reliability and resilience of the state's electrical grids. That's another $5 billion investment. And it allocates funding for specific projects across the state to address water infrastructure, flood, wastewater, and supply needs, and addressing our state's transportation needs for highway project development, construction, and maintenance. Members, the Texas economy is the envy of the nation, and the budget will secure our state's prosperity for generations to come. We have leveraged our state surplus over several sessions to make targeted, one-time investments without burdening future budgets. Mr. President, my plan is to yield the floor one at a time to each of the conferees as they briefly highlight final budget decisions. And at that time, after they present, I would be happy to answer any questions. I would ask that, if possible, we hold the questions till all the conferees have presented.